Well, hello everyone. This will be the last video from this location before I jet off to Oahu tomorrow morning. So here's my review on Marvel's Thunderbolts. And the asterisk does reveal is revealed by the movie's events. And technically, he isn't a complete spoiler based on what they're building up towards. Obviously, these characters are not the role models like you'd like to see with the Avengers or even the same kind of misfits that Guardians of the Galaxy were, but when the entire world's being threatened by both superpowered and non-superpowered individuals, basically the closest thing they got. So, let's begin. The film home stars a cast led by the likes of Sebastian Stan, Florence Pugh, and David Harbour, among many others. There's after her being set up by a conniving in, statesman with conflict interests. As the the Thunderbolts, a title which I hesitant to use, whose must band together in order to not only confront their own past demons, but also to face off against an enemy, a, known as the Void Sentry, a who is definitely on the higher end of power scaling, and I did understand why the creator, who came up with the variant in the comics, has mixed feelings as well, and also why they had to change the backstory, because usually it's Zemo that ends up being like having investment wise and one in the team. But because of the way storyline is playing out, Daniel Bruhl has not said much else about what's going to happen next. He this time, it's La Fontaine, I believe, that's was responsible for bringing together there's not going to be any major spoilers, but basically she wanted to have them get rid of the evidence before they realize in this bunker in the middle of nowhere they're they're actually part of said evidence. She obviously never expected that they would actually band together to help get the rat out of the ledger. And I must say, a even if you haven't seen all the spin-offs, I overheard someone said that they're taking a break from the D Plus accounts. The movie does do a decent job establishing who these characters are and how they operate in the story. I myself am not inherently familiar with the Void, but looking information on the wiki checks out. We definitely see more of this character than you do in the advertising, and I understand why they're become some of the next Avengers lineup. You obviously, I don't see them wanting to get like a figurine or like a Fortnite skin of someone who thinks that the void might be sponge worthy. Yes, Dreyfus is back, and yes, she is as manipulative as ever. But all joking aside, that actually is a recurring theme: manipulation and self doubt in this film. Which even as people are getting sent to a voice as a space between spaces, getting trapped in their worst memories and reduced to like a black shadow on the pavement, and that's actually the most frightening thing. Yeah. So this may not be the darkest film in the multiverse saga to date, but I'd say it's up there. It's not that there aren't jokes in the film. David Harbour is enjoyable as ever, with his limo service just being quite amusing. It seems like the whole that was his idea, and he also got to keep one of the stunt cars, that was being used. Who's but it reminds me a lot of Volume 3, where they don't actually attempt the jokes as frequently as they do, like how they play themes of loss, manipulation, and personal trauma actually quite seriously, like how that's and especially how it relates to what we've seen as characters thus far. That's everyone's got in their ledger and need to wipe it out. So, and also I think this movie also does a better job at not letting anyone's tragedy define them than the Flash did. Like how, as opposed to merely gesturing at the idea like that film did, this one actually goes to explore what effect that has on like how that's Yelena's not just dealing with the loss of her adopted sister, but also her own experience in the Red Room when being trained like that. That's while the ghost may have a new set of armor that stabilized her body, the mind is still something to be conquered, and I will also say the same thing with Bucky. Each subsequent appearance definitely makes that line from the third Captain America hit even harder. Or do you remember them? I remember all of them. Well, this film went through a lot of changes. I mean, which even though the comics lineup has changed over time, some of these fan posters, which Venue mistakenly used, actually had a completely different lineup than was going to be in the final film. Director Jake Schreier still manages to make his own kind of biggest little film that he's done thus far. Where I mean, it's always kind of fascinating to me when I see a someone who worked on ones like Robot and Frank and Paper Towns, both ones I actually rather enjoyed, give this kind of blockbuster budget of $180 million, and not only connects to the fourth Captain America earlier this year, but also last year's Deadpool and Wolverine, as well as the upcoming Fantastic Four. I want to say how I'll talk a little bit more in the coming attractions riff, and I definitely also, yes, there are some similarities to the Suicide Squad, but also some differences, not just in how the team of anti-heroes ends the story, but also how the a person upstairs is pulling the strings. Whereas both standalone movies have Waller are really a wanting to die on the hill of setting up Task Force X as their flunkies. He's LaFontaine, let's just say, he is not as as not exactly the same. So, and she's definitely capable of recognizing when she's about to go down, and will do anything in her power or to avoid that, unless it's her absolute last resort. Or it's been, and I would not say it's my favorite film in the Multiverse Saga, but it definitely has a lot of things I enjoyed about it. How it's been argued that one of the ways it's going to who combat the genre fatigue if it's been experiencing is to more willingly embrace some of the more out there elements of source material. I mean, I've made that suggestion as well. Not just in terms of like the modern age material, which tend to be more serious in its storytelling, but finding ways to reimagine the concepts that were in the Golden Silver Age storylines, which were much more out there, outlandish, man, their presence. So I will definitely give this electrifying 3.5 stars out of 4. And now, on to coming attractions. First off, let's talk about how Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning coming May 23rd. I'm prioritizing that next. I mean, especially as well, I really want to get the remaining Mission Impossible ones I haven't done yet done. Like, I got the outline for MI2, as well as the original Lilo and Stitch worked out, just working on filling those in. And I especially like this one question, which I'm fairly certain was asked by Paramount's financiers that eventually made the shooting script. You gave him an aircraft carrier? How to Train Your Dragon live action reversion, June 13th. As stated before, I think it looks fine. Though I'm gonna wait for it to come to Peacock, given how I've already got both John Wick Ballerina and Elio lined up on opposite ends of them. I also found like they put you on Silent Spot for the Ladder quite amusing. I think the movie will be very fun, very cute. I'll say that much. July 11th, Superman. Still my most anticipated film of the summer. Now that the season officially kicked and I think it's just for a simple reason we could use that kind of uplift right now. I mean, a lot of people want me just to feel down and despair, and I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. What I am choosing joy in the form of a Man of Steel, and I I'm I definitely think that this could be the ideal start to DCU on the big screen that we're hoping for. I'm not sure how to feel about that Sergeant Rock film getting scrapped, but at least they did it before they started making it rather than just shelving it. Hmm. On that note, the Fantastic Four First Steps, I just did like a video on this main one, but also like another little touch there as well that they actually switched the preview card to the card that would be in the 60s, which they're really leaning me into, again, the more out there aspect of source material. And I still maintain that I'm just really glad that this time Glass is not going to be under miasma space gas, that they're actually going to do like the giant planet eater with the horned helmet and everything. And heck, they even made a pop out of the Galacta variant. I'm so interested in playing more rivals, even with the a recent dismissal of their entire US QA team just to like keep the whole thing in house. But I will say that the anime-esque Galacta is still very cute. I could imagine someone going like, okay, hey, once we hit this next sub-milestone, I'll eat this planet, so be sure to keep watching, fellas. And anyway, that'll be all for now, and I will see you again later this month once I'm back for Oahu. Aloha, everyone.